Welcome to the Festival of Entrepreneurs, recorded live at the NEC in Birmingham. Over the next few minutes, you'll hear from some of the most incredible founders, investors, and business leaders who joined us this year.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hands up all the happy people in this room. Hands up all the miserable bastards.
Woohoo.
Who not to look at. Well, good morning, everybody. We have got a very exciting panel for you guys, as you can tell. I'm excited to be here. I'm James Burt. I'll be curating this conversation for the next couple of minutes. We are talking all about a very famous TV show. We're talking about The Apprentice this morning. These three lovely famous faces that you might recognise off your TV screens have been through the process of The Apprentice. We're going to talk about the highs, the lows, the truths, the myths, and the benefits, and maybe some of the less beneficial sides of doing massive TV. So we're going to talk all about that. We're going to do a little Q&A at the end if you've got any questions that you'd like to ask as well. So I'm very excited to be joined by my illustrious panel. We'll start down the end. Mr. Tre Lowe, everybody. The best looking guy. I hate being around Tre, because you know when someone's that good looking, it makes you feel ugly. You're just like, oh, here he is. And he smells amazing. Just hug him. It just smells amazing. Tre is now running the Sobo Club, amongst many, many other things. First ever, I think, contender around the world on The Apprentice to be invited back. So he went on as a candidate, and then went back the following year as a guest, which I don't think has ever been done before, which we're going to talk about. So Tre Lowe, everybody. Woo! Also, as an aside, does anybody remember the 90s banger Body Groove?
2000, not
2000
I'm not that old.
Banger Body Groove, the garage classic. Make your body move. That was him and his brother. So there you go. We have also today, we have got Sabrina Stocker. Everybody, give her a round of applause from 2 PR. And we're going to be talking to Sabrina about life after The Apprentice. Does lots of very interesting stuff. Was a very high-level tennis player, had a tennis brand at that time. Now works in the world of PR, but also has one of the fastest-growing paddle social clubs. Anybody a mega fan of paddle? One person, wonderful. We'll skip over the panel part then. That's fine. We'll just take that off my notes. Brilliant. Thank you, Sabrina, for being here. And we have also got Daniel. Is it Elahi? Elahi. Daniel Elahi from Revival Shots. Daniel, everybody, let's give him a round of applause. Interestingly, Sabrina and Daniel were actually on the same year together. So, were you on the same team or opposition?
A few times.
Oh, of course, yes.
We liked each other though.
And they actually did a challenge one week, which was actually based at the NEC. So it's nice that it's all gone full circle.
It's positive, but it's also brought back a little bit of trauma.
Yeah, the trauma bonded to the NEC arena. So first and foremost then, we'll sort of go down the line. What on earth made you guys want to do The Apprentice in the first place? Yes, it's on the TV screens, and yeah, there's all the benefits as part of that, but obviously it's a mixed bag putting yourself out there into the public sphere. So Tre, you first. Why The Apprentice?
Do you know what? I have to admit, coming from UK Garage and Music, I would never, ever, ever have gone on TV had my brother not passed away. So my brother was the other half of the band, Architects. He passed away from COVID in 2020. And when he passed, something in me just shifted. And I'm a big believer in squeezing out every ounce of purpose and talent and possibility that you've got yourself in the time you've got left. And when he passed, I don't know how long I've got. And I really just wanted to make a difference, especially with men, because, you know, men are so vulnerable at the moment, like very, very vulnerable. My brother was an example of that. You know, he lived alone, he got sick, he didn't know he had COVID because it was early, but he didn't go to the doctors, do anything, didn't go to hospital, and one day he literally just dropped down and the police found his body at the bottom of the stairs. And after that I was like, no, I'm done. And there's going to be certain things that come up for me that are going to be uncomfortable. And again, coming from UK Garage, doing what looked like reality TV is like, no, it's not cool enough. But I thought, sod it. So my wife actually applied, and something in me just said, Tre, you need to go and apply as well. And then that's it. That's how I ended up there. I literally wanted to be able to make a difference, and I thought, let me get the biggest audience I possibly can. So I was like, it's a no-brainer. And I think nowadays, for all of us entrepreneurs, it's very important that we make ourselves as visible as possible. So that it was simple as that. I just really wanted to make a difference.
Nice. Talking about visibility, and someone who knows all about it from the world of PR, You were in the world of tennis at this point in time. Why the Apprentice for you, Sabrina?
I actually didn't know that about you, so I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad that you're creating an impact. I had a really happy story of why I wanted to apply. So ever since I was 8 years old, every single night, no one could talk in the house, and I'd watch the show, and I became really obsessed. And my mum's Indian, so looking at anyone else in Asian in the audience, I was down to become a doctor, a lawyer, and to go to Oxford. And that was my only options. And I always grew up with this innate fire. I want to start my own business, but I didn't know what to do. And The Apprentice was the closest thing I could think of. So walking in, it was so surreal because I watched Lord Sugar since I was 8, and I was on the show when I was 22. So that was multiple different years of actually wanting to create a childhood dream.
So you watched it every day from when? Why? What initially? Because most kids are watching like Teletubbies, or old school reference there, Teletubbies. But you're watching cartoons or whatever. Why on earth did a slightly miserable middle-aged guy or an old guy appeal to an 8-year-old kid like, that's what I want to do?
So I'm 29 now, so probably around 2000-ish the show came out. And back then, we had YouTube, we had Tony Robbins, Brendan Burchard, but there were no females on YouTube. So the only content I consumed was middle-aged men, that's all I knew. So I was so obsessed about learning and creating. In my year that we were both on together, we had 8 million views a week. So I was getting stopped like 40, 50 times a day just walking down the street. And we had, I think, 65,000 people apply in our year. So for whatever reason, they chose us to. And it was incredible.
Wow. And Daniel, why The Apprentice for you? Did you already have the concept of revival at that point in time, so it's going to be the catalyst to give this the promotion that it needed to pop, or was it something else?
Revival was certainly a business at that time, but it wasn't kind of the trajectory. So I was actually working as a trader for an investment bank in London.
Right.
I didn't declare my business, and I didn't realise you had to. So I got fired for gross misconduct. I was escorted out of the building, and I had no job. I went from making really good money to sat at home with a business turning over about £100 a day at the time. It wasn't enough to live on. I thought, shit.
So you got sacked from the day job?
I got fired from being a banker, from being a trader.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was working in
a shop company on the side.
For having this company which I didn't declare. So I'm at home, working on my business, put something on in the background, it was The Apprentice, and at the end of the episode, Sugar pops up. He says, you think you could do better next year? Apply now. And I thought, you know what, I can do better next year. So I applied, and that was the story.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So it wasn't, you hadn't been watching it like Sabrina had for decades, and it was your lifelong aspiration, which is like, I've been sacked. Alan Sugar's my company now in the living room. I'm trying to build this business. I'm going, I think I can do better.
Pretty much. When I was younger, it was more Teletubbies.
Fine. I'm glad it wasn't just me. What was the most valuable lesson that you got from the process? Whether it was from working with other people, whether it was taking the feedback, whether it's from a particular task, or maybe it was something, I don't want to put words in your mouth. What was the most valuable bit of it? Because I appreciate that, a week's worth of content, 20 hours a day, your 140 hours of filming gets compressed into 58 minutes that we get to see as a highlight reel. What was the most valuable part of the process? What comes to you first, Sabrina?
So for me, I always knew that I wanted to start something. And what's with The Apprentice is we have a new task every single week, which means we've got no experience in what we're doing, but we have to make money. And this was really powerful for me because when lockdown happened, I lost both of my incomes overnight. I wasn't able to pay my rent. And within that 2 weeks, I was able to create a new company that paid my rent, and that's all I could think about. So for me, I know I can make money providing I solve a problem if I lost everything. And that was really powerful to actually go through that experience 2 years later, not being able to know how I was going to pay for my food. And to put it in context, I was running a 6-figure tennis tournament company. I was a presenter. I was making quite good money at my age. So for me, I know no matter what happens in the future, I'm resilient enough to make money. And I'd love to share that because sometimes we get so wound up in our businesses, even if they're not projecting the right way. If you lost everything, could you start again? And yes, you can.
And you didn't have that mentality before you went into it? You didn't have that muscle because you hadn't been forced to turn a quid every week?
Well, tennis was all I knew. I was brought up as a tennis player. I was a tennis coach. I was running a tennis events company. Yes, I had, a few things that were going, apart from this, I had an MBA, but I didn't know how to make money and I didn't grow up with money. So knowing that whatever happened, I could make it and it flows was a huge, huge lesson. And even now, some months we make amazing and some months we don't. But I know the month is going to come because money flows.
Nice. Daniel, most valuable lesson for you?
I guess it's that kind of dependency on other people. So I think these guys probably relate. Kind of when you start off your company, you're in charge of every kind of facet of it. You're in control of every facet of it. You then get thrust into this process whereby you're working with people. Everyone's an entrepreneur. Everyone wants to be in charge. And you're very fragmented in terms of what you're doing on a daily task, right? So you could go away with an idea thinking you're going to go that direction. The other team thinking they're going to go in another direction. Get to the boardroom and you find out it's all gone to shit. So it's that dependency on other people and trying to coordinate that. I think that was the interesting thing to see and to manage.
Does it make you want to, in those environments, does it make you want to step up so you can control the environment, or does it teach you more about how to step back and allow others to step into their greatness?
I guess it's both, right? You've got to understand the people that you're working with.
Yeah.
I think, on one task there can't be two captains. There's got to be someone in charge and there's got to be other people who can take direction. So I think it's knowing when to push and knowing when to pull in those situations.
Yeah, nice. Tre, most valuable lesson for you, my friend?
Most valuable lesson, I'd probably say certainty. I think people who watch that show, sometimes people look at everyone and they laugh, oh, these guys are all stupid. When I tell you, it's probably, you guys will agree with this, the hardest thing you can do is go on that show. Because you literally have no sleep, you're away from your family, it's like being in the SAS. They take away your phone, your watch, you have absolutely nothing. And the only thing you have is yourself and your certainty. So you have to lean into your authenticity because you can't be anyone but yourself. Anyone that tries to do that, it's too long to pretend to be something else. And you've got to lean into integrity. And I think, you just said something there. You're working with people who have all different levels of intellectual ability, different level of experience. And in that moment, you have to not just come from this egocentric self. You have to actually work as a team. And you need certainty to do that. Like, it doesn't matter what I'm in, we're going to succeed in this. It's a level of resilience and power I think I got from being certain of who I am. And coming out of that, I'm like, there is nothing life can throw at me that I won't be able to navigate. I mean, nothing. That's how good that experience is, I think.
How do you navigate that? Because I've noticed in the show, like you've got unwavering certainty in yourself. And you and I have worked privately on other stuff together, and again, you just know that you're going to succeed. But it never comes from ego. I never get that sense. So how do you walk that tightrope of, I am certain this is the right thing, but not come at it from an egoic perspective?
I think you have to have a level of integrity with who you are from a purpose point of view. And who I am from a purpose point of view is that other people get their greatness, including myself. So it's not automatically a service thing. So rather than look at someone who may not know what they're doing, it's like, how can I serve this person? I'll give an example. Before I mentor a lot of people, and the producer said to me, Tre, you're a mentor and a coach. Whatever you do not mentor these guys because they're your competition. And from the day first I got in there, I was doing that. Like literally, there's some people that would have left the show had I not mentored them. And it's just been in integrity with yourself and your intention. I love that people get their greatness and they operate at the highest level for themselves. So as long as you're doing that, nothing that happens is going to derail you in any way, shape, or form. Just very, very certain. And what I love about it, because when you see on the show and they get you up in the morning, you've got 20 minutes to get ready. You bloody well do have 20 minutes to get ready.
I being a girl.
I don't know how the girls did it.
So actually, Sean, she was staying in a room with me. She'd get up at 3 a.m, get ready, go back to sleep, and then when they came into the room at 4 a.m, she'd be half ready.
It's mad. So you're then having to operate with so much certainty because everything you know is taken away from you. And then you're doing a task about, I don't know, making cheesecakes or something you have no knowledge of. And all you've got is certainty of, right, I know I can work with people, I know I'm competent and confident, and I know I'm just going to give it my all and kill it. And I think the people who tried to have a tactic of this me, they went out the process. But the people who had the tactic of this us together, how can we win? Those people did well. And again, it's just about having integrity with who you are and doing it consistently, being yourself consistently.
Was there a point, and I'll come to you first with this one, Daniel, is there a point where you thought this has really gone wrong? And not just a task has gone wrong, or not just like you're the PM on that, or you're going to get pulled back into the boardroom. Is there a point where you thought this is going to be reflected so badly that this is going to damage my brand after the fact?
I mean, not necessarily in that respect, but I think if...
I'm making it sound a bit too dramatic there, sorry.
No, if you're looking from a macro sense, I think one of the things that you come to realise is you're working with individuals, right? And the guy that you're on the task or the girl that you're on the task with, who's patting your back, who's on your side, they go into the boardroom and to see them switch, that's interesting. And that's, when you see it unfold for the first time and you're involved in it for the first time, I think that's a real shift, because it all goes from being very, very pally, everyone's on the same team, so you've got to tear this person apart to stay in the process, and the claws come out, and that's a very interesting thing.
And then go back to the house with them half an hour later in the car, like, come on then, just share a cab back.
And then you're you're literally in the bed next to them, and then the next morning you're hugging them back on task with them. So it's a crazy roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Tre?
When something goes wrong?
Yeah, or did something go wrong that was so that you thought this is bad in the wider context?
I never did that, and I think I had the advantage of having been in the music business and had success, because there were people there thinking, when I come out, I'm gonna, like, people literally looked at it like it's some way of me getting famous, and I was saying to them, guys, nobody cares about you, and you had to kill your ego in this. I never thought about how am I going to look like to the outside world, because they're going to edit you, do whatever. All you can do is be as good as you can, and that's all you've got to go on. So I never had this sense of worry around that. But I mean, we had one incident, I can't remember what it was, where, I'm not going to say the other contestant's name, but you could just see it going wrong, and she was actually instructed by Lord Sugar that no one should help her. And it would have been so easy to just sort of left her on her own, and I tried so much to really, really make a difference. And I had no idea I was going to come across on TV, because you could easily come across either you're being condescending or whatever it was. But again, it's back to certainty of just like, what do I want? I actually just want to do my very best. And my intention was never to be in the boardroom. Like, do so well to never be in the boardroom, because it's like, even if you lose, if you can show that you gave everything, you either weren't going to be brought back, or good luck to whoever was going to bring you back, because you could demonstrate that. So again, it just goes back to certainty. So I never saw it as anything going wrong, because the harder things were, the stronger you became, like, if that makes sense. Like, the harder things were, the stronger you performed. That was my experience.
What about you, Sabrina?
It's interesting. I don't feel like anything from the show would have put me in that place of not being happy with what's going out. But I was a silent assassin when I was at the show. And Daniel laughs. I was 22 years old when the show was being filmed, and everyone else was around, I think, 28, 30. And I looked quite young as well. So I was constantly thinking, am I too young to be here? And Lord Sugar was saying, you are very young. And that was just really going into my limiting beliefs. I see a few younger faces in the audience, and I wish I had more self-confidence in that stage. And it was only when I was brought into the final three, and it was Karen and Claude who were actually backing me up, compared to me having to back myself up, that I knew I was in the right place. So for me, it was being more confident and taking bigger risks.
Nice.
And I want to say something about it. I really take my hat off to you, because for the young people on the show, I always thought to myself, when you take everything away from you, not have Google, all you've got is your knowledge. I just felt with the people that are younger, the disadvantage they had when it came to tasks that you knew nothing about. So the fact that you actually did so well says a lot about your character. That's incredible.
Thank you.
Incredible. It's not easy, that process.
I had got a few tactics though, because I'd watched so many episodes.
You're an expert.
This helps.
For 16 years, she had every tactic going. We'll do a bit more of a quick fire, because I appreciate we've only got a few more minutes left, and I want to open up some Q&A. Did the show, I'm going to chuck this one to all of you actually. Tre, we're going to start with you first, because I'd be really interested to know your take on it. Obviously, in the moment, and you mentioned, Sabrina, 8 million people are watching per week. It's at the height of it. It's probably before socials had popped as much as they have now, and attention is more disparate. But in the moment and in the immediate aftermath, I guess the show helps because your profile is raised, people know who you are, etc. But as a sort of looking back at the whole thing, did The Apprentice help or hinder you from a business perspective? Was there doors that were like, no, you're the reality TV guy, you're the reality TV girl? So did it help you get in the door, or did it close the door quicker, do you think? Tre, I'll come to you first. I think we probably know the answer with you, because they invited you back.
Yeah, I would easily say it's the best thing I've ever done. And I think for all of us, we're all in the final, right? I think that mitigated the fact that people might have seen it as reality TV, because people knew it took a level of competence to do well in a show like that. People who really know would know that, there's been banana skins thrown in so you look more silly than you are, but they know it takes something, that. And my God, had I known the doors it would have opened, like, I would have done it way sooner. I can't believe I was even thinking, should I do it, should I not? Because my thing was always to be in the background. I didn't like the thought of actually being on the show because you're going to be seen and recognised and all the rest of it. But it's opened up doors. I mean, now I've got a show on TV, which is a weekly political show. I would never have got that had I not done The Apprentice. I think it's done wonders. I'm so glad I did it. But I think for anyone in the audience who might be thinking of going on that show or any show, please do. Please do. It's like this. Huh?
Even Love Island?
Even Love Island. I mean, come on, some of the entrepreneurs that have come out of Love Island, because we are in the world where you need attention and there's so much noise out there. How are you going to get attention? You know, we were just speaking about personal brand. If you're a business, you are a personal brand. A lot of people are going to be doing business with people they feel they know. So whatever you can do to elevate yourself, hell yeah. Now, I think it's been absolute wonders. But like I say, because I did well on the show, I don't know how it would have been if I'd come out week 1 or week 2 and I'd done something that made me look incompetent. I guess it would have the opposite amplification. But to have gone this far and again to act with integrity and certainty and, you know, being authentic to who you are, it's just opened so many doors. Because it's the BBC, you've got what, 7-8 million people watching you. Anywhere in the world, everyone knows of The Apprentice. And you've got Donald Trump, which is probably the most famous name attached to The Apprentice. So no one in the world doesn't know what the show The Apprentice is. It's opened up doors. It's been amazing.
What about you, Sabrina? Helped or hindered?
Massively helped. Going on to The Apprentice, I didn't know how powerful a personal brand was. When I spoke earlier and I lost my business, I co-founded a tech company. I used my name because the BBC and the UK press knew who I was, and I had a company. To show the impact of this, when we launched, we went to every single press outlet in the UK. The Sun, the Metro, the Times, the Telegraph, and we had 130,000 users on our website overnight and 350,000 users within 6 weeks of launching. Now, the growth of that is faster than Facebook, and I purely put it down to the fact the UK knew who I was, they trusted me, and I had a business that solved the problem. So for me, now is the most important time to build your personal brand. And whether that's on TV, on YouTube, on the radio, on your LinkedIn, whatever that is, it's your opportunity to share from a place of values, what your lessons that you've learned, but not from ego. And people can quickly see that authenticity. So providing you're coming from the right place, I think it's the biggest hack that anyone can do for their career and for their business.
Help or hinder? I need one hinder. Come on.
Well, mine's definitely a hinder. Apologies.
Oh, brilliant. Thank God for that.
I want to hear
That's the
this.
worst question ever.
I'm not building a personal brand, I'm building a brand which is now a multinational global brand. And if we look, I think Tre commented on this earlier, if you look at the process of The Apprentice, when you're in it, it's a bit like being in prison. You've got 3 months when you're in the house, you've got no phone, no communication with the outside world. It's very, very hard to run your business. When you come out of it, you're so busy with press and all the other shows that come after it and newspapers and your events, and it takes a big, big chunk out of your life. And if I look at the trajectory that Revival's been on, that's 6 months that's taken away from it. And I'll be 6 months further had I not gone onto it. And if I go into a room now with a VC or a PE or, you know, someone who's going to fund, you know, multi-million pound, you know, agreement with us, they don't care the fact that I've been on The Apprentice. They care about the EBITDA of the company, the growth rate, what's the trajectory, what's the net margin, what's the gross margin. It might open a door, it might raise a smile, it might raise an eyebrow, but ultimately no one's doing a deal with me because I was on The Apprentice, no one's appraising my business because I was on The Apprentice. It's on the value of the business, and I find at certain levels, you know, if I take this back 2-3 years ago, maybe even 4 years ago, at that level, The Apprentice was interesting for people who had, you know, a ticket size of maybe 100,000 or 250,000. When you elevate it, I don't think people really care in that sense. And if anything, you won't find the word apprentice referenced on any of our kind of media or any of our flyers or any of our products. We actually try to disguise it a little bit. Yeah, very much so. And certainly if I'm in a corporate meeting, you know, with VC or with a private equity fund, it's not something I'm going to actively put out. Yeah.
But can I say, I think Daniel is one of the most successful entrepreneurs who have come out of The Apprentice. So I'd love for you to actually share what your brand's doing now.
So I own a drinks company. The company's called Revival. I went on there with that company. It was much smaller back then, but we've grown significantly since then. I haven't, leveraged the Apprentice to do that. It's been built off of an organic, intrinsic value in the brand, which is snowballed and escalated over time. And now we're in a position where we trade all over the world. We've got a European head office, which we're hopefully opening in a couple of months. We're hopefully opening our head office in the Middle East and Dubai early next year as well. So yeah, I think things are going well.
And this is the other thing, this was going to be my final question actually. In certain instances like that, you would have given away 50% equity for 250 grand, which when you sort of like don't understand business, you're like, oh my God, you're getting 250 grand, that's amazing. But actually, as an equity deal, that is the worst possible thing that you could have. That you're probably not giving a percentage of your company away for 250 these days.
No, it's terrible. And even after the deal, I was then chasing money in that respect, and you're talking similar ticket sizes to that. And because it's a bit like Dragon's Den thing, right? They offer 30 grand for 30% of someone's business. It's wild if you look at it.
Yeah.
And I think the more you learn about business, I think it obviously helps. The bigger your company is, it puts you in the driving seats of these negotiations. But to your point about the deal with Sugar, it's a terrible deal. I'm so glad, touch wood, that I didn't take it because it's a massive undervaluation at the time. And today, it would be good for him. This 250 would be worth a hell of a lot more, but it would put me in a position where I wouldn't want to be. And I think ultimately that would hinder my ability to grow the company and run it how I want to. So, blessing in disguise, everything.
Absolutely. Well, finally then, what are you guys doing in business now? Tell us about sort of what's come off the back of The Apprentice for you, Sabrina. What are you working on right now?
Before I was a tennis coach and I was a tournament organizer, and we had a good team. We had 42 team members. I then co-founded Shopping Slot, which had around 350,000 users, which was the solution for people getting food during lockdown. And I started an agency 5 years ago from my local coffee shop, not really knowing what to do. Now, since then, we've done millions of dollars. I've been able to travel around the world and live in the most incredible places. And now I'm trying to help specifically a lot more females to start their own businesses. And having gone through, I think, the ups and downs is the biggest thing. But also being The Apprentice, people know the name, they trust the name, there's a certain amount of credibility there. So the amount of impact that I can do and the fact that I've built a company means that I can hopefully help and impact some others to accelerate what they're trying to do. And today actually at 2:15 I have a talk on the tech and AI stage around how to build a personal brand around AI. So for anyone who's like, oh, that sounds interesting, or I think I want to build my personal brand as a founder, please come and join. And we've got a really cool presentation where hopefully you'll actually be able to impact and create something for yourself off the back.
That's why she's the queen of PR. Subconsciously upsold her next sling to you. Brilliant. I'll make sure that nobody missed that. Trey, finally then come to you. What are you working on?
Some really
TV show.
Things. Yeah, I mean, my thing, that's why I say in terms of personal brand, my thing that I want to do is elevate my personal brand, because there's lots of stuff that I do want to do with it. So I'm doing things in TV, like I say, we've got a political show weekly. I've got another huge announcement that I can't say yet, which is in the
Go on, say it.
politics as well. But also I run a club called Sobo Club, which is an events and training company for people like yourself, really and truly. It's about networking more than anything else, because one thing I'm really clear about, and I think you guys probably can agree, a lot of what you're going to be doing is about who you know. You know, if you want to get somewhere fast or you want to raise a certain amount of capital, it's going to be who you know, it's going to be proximity. So we do that. We do some incredible events with some incredible brands. We've done one with Gucci, we've done events with Barry, we have some just really inspirational evenings, etc. And then we do a lot of trainings. I've actually got one now that I'm missing, which is a speaker's training, which trains you to do exactly what we're doing here now, because, you know, anyone that's scared of public speaking, please learn how to do it. Because there's going to be no better way to convey your message, not someone else's, your message, than learning to be on these stages, disseminate what's really important to you. And then as another thing I do, very, very passionate about property. So I've got it's literally an 8-figure property project with my family where we're looking to sort of diversify into West Africa. I'm from, I'm Nigerian. So yeah, lots of great, exciting stuff going on.
Amazing. Right, I've got time for one question. Who's got a question? You, madame, have you got a roving microphone person? Oh, we have. Camera Louis doing the mics as well. This guy, what can't he do? That's what I want to
Also
know.
get my content too, press.
Oh yes, always be contenting. ABC.
Amazing. So I've been told by a lot of people that I know that I should go on The Apprentice.
Yes.
And every year I'm like, yeah, I'm going to apply, and then by the time it starts, the closing dates are obviously closed. What advice would you give to anyone in the room who is looking to go on The Apprentice? Because as you mentioned, there's so many people that send in applications. But obviously you guys were chosen. And what do you feel helped make sure that your application stood out?
Great question.
Go on, Sabrina.
I have a great answer for this one.
I can see you buzzing to go.
Can you put your hand up in here if you're thinking about or you've ever thought about going on The Apprentice? I'd like to see more hands up. But
Come on.
Many.
Oh, here we go.
I did. Back in the
You
day.
did?
Alan said no.
Anyone? Interesting. I was so strategic about getting onto the show. Like super strategic because I knew I wanted it. So the first thing I do is, the same happened to me. I applied too late and I missed the deadline. But then I knew when the interviews were. So the next year, I haven't even applied yet. I stopped and I pushed back my MBA exams so that I knew that I'd be free when I was getting filmed. That's how confident I was.
That's commitment.
That I knew that I was going to be on the show. I then thought, okay, what are they looking for? They want someone who's fun, who's young, but also demographics-wise. I'm a blonde, white 22-year-old in London, so I'm competing against all the other under 30s in London. So I knew I had to stand out. So everything from getting my hair blow dried on the day to actually having good makeup on and putting my outfit together, making myself really clean, was like the aesthetic side of things. What do they want to see? Step 2 is I went on YouTube and I watched every single video I could find about those beginning interview questions. Back then I had photographic memory, so I was able to read. It's a little bit, it's a little bit there now. And I wrote out 100 questions and 100 press-worthy answers, meaning what's going to make the UK headlines. One of them was, how would I describe myself? I describe myself as Willy Wonka drinking an espresso martini, classy and sophisticated on the outside, but a little bit crazy and wacky on the inside. I wrote every single question. I practiced in front of the camera for 4 hours until I was able to recite what I was trying to do. So I knew when I got to the end stage, I had some fun answers that would be on camera. And then the third was the amount of sheer confidence I had on the day that I knew the show, I knew I'd make good TV, and I was going in for the right intentions, which was just because I wanted to experience it. So the more strategic you can be, the more confidence you have, and what's going to make you stand out, what's going to make the UK audience love you, that's what the producers want to see. Are you someone who's confident in front of camera? Are you someone who's fun and a little bit of quirky? That's what they'll fall in love with. So before you even think about applying, really working on yourself will be a huge amplification there.
Awesome. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, but please give it up for Daniel and Sabrina and for Tre, everybody.
Thanks for watching this special episode from the Festival of Entrepreneurs. Our mission is simple: to help founders and business owners grow faster, think bigger, and take action. And if you were part of the event, thank you for joining us and being part of the community. And if you missed it, don't worry. We'll be back with even more ideas, inspiration, and opportunities to help you take your business to the next level. You can find out more and register for future events at festivalofentrepreneurs.co.uk.